Okay, so let's look at the solution. If you said either layout width or layout height, those wouldn't be bad guesses. It's really important to choose these values carefully as they affect the space that your element takes up. For example, let's talk about layout width. Suppose that I have a text box that says hi, and I set the layout width to be wrap content. By default, this will just stick that text box into the upper left-hand corner. Then, if I use another attribute to push it over to the right, the text box will be here. If instead I use match parent, by default, hi will still be in the upper left-hand corner. But if I then try to set an attribute to push it to the right, it'll try to push this text box to the right, but it already is as far right as it can be because it's expanding to match the parent and fill the whole view group. In the case of using match parent, we can see that the hi text hasn't actually moved. So one thing that's hopefully clear from this example is that we're going to want to set both layout width and layout height to wrap content, so it wraps exactly around the content, and then when you tell the text view to be either to the right, left, above, below, it'll actually move that text to that location. Okay, so both layout width and layout height are important. Text style is an attribute for bolding or italicizing text, and it really doesn't involve positioning or spacing. Orientation is an attribute used specifically with linear layouts to determine whether they're going to be vertical or horizontal. Because we're using a relative layout, this also doesn't make any sense. Layout weight is really useful for spacing out elements evenly, but again, this is a linear layout attribute, which leaves us with these attributes. All of these attributes have to do with relative layouts. Now these attributes, layout to right of and layout below, are categorically different than the layout align parent, either bottom left or right. These attributes take two child views and position them relative to one another. For example, we could say position from Lila to the right of and below the Happy Birthday Ben text view. Let's see what that would look like. Okay, so if we did that and we just looked at the two text views, this is the code that we would use. With the Happy Birthday Ben text view, I've created an ID here, and then I refer to that ID for the From Lila text view with the layout below and layout right of attributes. Here's a picture of what that actually looks like in the app, and unfortunately that didn't really do what we wanted. The From Lila view is in fact to the right of the Happy Birthday Ben text view, and it is also below, but it's not in the lower right-hand corner. So these two aren't correct. Okay, so that leaves us with these three attributes, which will take my text view and align them in relation to the parent, which happens to be the whole screen. Now, I want From Lila to be down here, which is in the lower right-hand corner of the parent. So I'm not going to be using layout align parent left. So in fact, I'll be using layout align parent right and layout align parent bottom. Let's see how this all comes together in the code. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to find the From Lila text view, and I'm going to make sure that the layout width and the layout height are both set to wrap content. Otherwise, even if we position our text view correctly, it might not actually move. Next, I'm going to add the additional attributes. For the value, I go ahead and put true. This is affirming that I want this text view to be aligned to the parent's right. The other value I could put here is false, but that would mean that it is false that it aligns to the parent right, which is not what I want. So now I'm going to type the other attribute to put at the bottom, and I will also set this to true. Alright, so for those of you at home, this might be a little bit hard to see, but it seems like we've positioned our view down here correctly. That said, let's see if it actually shows up correctly on the phone by pressing the green Run button. Okay, I select my phone and I click OK. Okay, awesome. So up here I have my Happy Birthday Ben, and down here I have From Lila. And with that, everything looks like it's pretty much in the correct position.